The curtain came down on the 2023 Rugby Americas North Men's Under-19 and Women's Senior 15s tournament over the weekend at the University of the West Indies Mona Bowl in Jamaica. USA South retained both titles, defeating Jamaica 18-15 in the men's final on Saturday and beating Trinidad and Tobago 30-0 to take the women's gold medal. Bermuda came away with bronze in the men's category, while Mexico, they secured the bronze medal on the women's side. Here to give us an overall review of the tournament is chairman of the Jamaica Rugby Union, Jerry Benswick. Jerry, it's a pleasure to have you on the SportsMax Zone once again. I feel as if it's been a while.
It has been a while since I've been here. But it's a good vibe, nice being here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm very proud of the product that we have created.
Yeah, it looks fantastic on TV, I must say, first of all. So kudos to the SportsMax production crew. What have the responses been like to the television product specifically?
Same as you said it. It looked good on TV. Rugby is a really entertaining sport, and we don't get a chance to see ourselves on TV a lot. So for this to happen, where we can see our local players, our overseas-based players, our players that are Caribbean-based, it does a wonderful thing for the Caribbean and for the USA. USA already on TV playing rugby, and so is Canada. So we now have an opportunity to have that same kind of effect that they do. These girls from Trinidad who played in the finals, back home in Trinidad, everybody is watching rugby because it's popular in Trinidad, and they get to watch them live on SportsMax. These are kids they know. It's caused a lot of people to stop me and say, boy, the thing look good. How much more of it are we going to see? Are we going to see more of it? I would say, of course, SportsMax is the carrier. So, yeah.
Love how you say that. This is the second consecutive year that the tournament has been held in Jamaica at the UWI Mona Bowl. How would you compare this second staging to what it was last year?
It was a lot smoother. Well, for us, because we had the experience of doing it the first time. And it was basically myself, my vice chair, Dr. Sharmila, Ruth and Martin, who were doing like 70 to 80% of everything. So it's just, we were kind of running around doing the lifting and all the things. This year, we had more volunteers come on board. Some of the kids who play rugby in Jamaica were there wearing their volunteer shirts, and they were running around doing the heavy lifting. And I found myself actually chilling by the DJ booth, commentating on rugby and talking to people and explaining them about the game. And that was a great opportunity to see that we could have time to chill. Dr. Martin, who's normally shuttling back and forth to get water and this, didn't have to do all of that. She had someone in charge of that. And so the volunteers, it really made it much easier. Now for the presentation itself, the games, the standard of the games, great improvement from last year. The standard just raised like, boom, 10 feet up more, higher. And then the women, this is the big shocker. This is the first time our women are playing 15s rugby for this tournament. Yeah. And to see the way they handled it, and how tight the games were. Everybody was like standing up on the sideline during the 15s women's games, and it was a tension. Everybody was like, it could go anywhere. When we watched Mexico and Cayman play and saw how the ding-dong battle between those two, it was like, what? These girls are just going at it. And Cayman normally turns up to this event, and they're like, oh, you know, the little Cayman team. Because they don't have a lot of rugby in Cayman. They got a lot of money. But they don't have a lot of rugby. But the country supports the sport. Yeah. So when you see them reach to this level and they're doing so well, you're like, oh, there's growth there. They've improved. They have a system in place. Somebody's taking care of their women's rugby. And that was an amazing game to watch. Ding-dong battle to the end. Could have gone anyway.
Yeah. Have you been able to put your finger on why the improvement, the growth over the last year?
Yeah, I think I've been able to identify it.
Of course you have.
So we had a lot of meetings about hosting, well, just being having the event this year. That's the region. And when teams come to play the first time, they think about what's going to happen next year. Yeah. My team, for instance, the coach came last year. We got to the finals, and we were hammered by the USA. The coach went on a scouting mission.
That's the men's under 19
Men's
team.
under 19 team went on a scouting mission and said, I'm not coming back to Jamaica with a bunch of boys who are small because USA is just too big. So he came back with a team that was pound for pound heavier than the USA team. So we could stand up to that onslaught of pounding. And that changed the game completely. The only thing we lacked, I guess, as a team was that we just needed to be a bit more relaxed and free-flowing in the finals. Finals nerves can do that to you. Yeah. Yeah. And so you didn't get control of the game, and then we were expecting to just beat them outright. And a team, you have to mentally be prepared that a team's not going to give it to you. You have to take it.
Exactly. So especially when the team is USA.
Yes, and they are a seasoned team. Most of those kids who play for USA South, they're not a club side. They are a collective. So they play for other clubs, and then they come together to play for USA and represent for USA South. So when they invite these kids to trials, they're already scouting them from the year before. They take the ones they had from before, their first preference, and then the ones that are joining are usually of the highest caliber coming from their clubs. So they're not taking kids that are just learning the sport and that they have to have the skills to make the team. Yeah. So when we look at that matchup, they're going to come back with a bigger, stronger team. We have done that, and we saw the improvement. For the women, they are playing 15 for the first time. So they've spent a lot of time working on it just to get themselves ready. And when we saw them play, it was like, okay, the women's rugby has improved as well.
Yeah, and one of the things that are essential in any sport and improving the sport is finances. You've hosted it 2 years in a row. So talk to me about the reception from the business community here.
All right. We were fortunate to have gotten a couple of sponsors on board. It wasn't like the big sponsorship that we really, really wanted. We did reach out to the ministry for some assistance, but they themselves are having cash issues. So we understand, and we don't pressure them too much, but it means that we have to find the money elsewhere because we have to pay for a lot of the things that we use. Medical, there's a full medical setup that we have for this event. Player welfare is a high priority in rugby, and the University of the West Indies has a medical facility, and then we got short-time ambulance service, medical services to come on, and they got trained in rugby to respond to rugby injuries and stuff. So they got what we call ICIR, immediate care in rugby training and certification. So they were the best service to use, and they came with all the equipment. The Rugby Americas North said to us, this is the best medical setup we have ever had, and that was from last year until now. This is the best medical setup we've had for the tournament, and for them it's the best thing because where under 19 boys are concerned, you need that kind of coverage. We had like 3 ambulances, we had a full medical tent with a ice bath in there for bringing temperature down, all medical equipment that was needed, and quick response teams, and so whenever a player went down, they were on the field. Corporate Jamaica wasn't bad to us, but we could have used a lot more support in our efforts. And we still have some bills to pay, so we can still use some support, Corporate Jamaica. St. Mary's came and gave us some product. We had Pure National Ice providing hydration for their new brand of Happy Water, and they also gave the athletes ice. So all the teams got ice and water. We got some support from Jamaica National Money. They helped out our team. And CB Chicken came on board as well and gave us a little village with food and some, a little bit of sponsorship here and there. And we just made it made a huge difference. Those little things make a huge difference.
And as chairman, are you happy with the direction that rugby is going? And do you see, in the near future, us beating the USA and getting that off our back?
Hopefully, yes. Yeah, man. It will happen. You can be the king for only so long. It doesn't last. It's not a forever journey. And based on the competition we saw this time, we know we're going to beat them. And they know they're going to come even stronger next year. But I believe we're going to be even stronger. So that battle will continue until we have a mission. We have to beat the USA. World Rugby has under 20 World Championships. We're playing under 19. Under 19 is a development pathway. we want to get into under 20s as world, what do you call it, competing nation. You have New Zealand in there, you have Australia, England, those big names in rugby are in the under 20s. We haven't been able to come out of the region into under 20 because we can't beat USA South. If you can't beat USA South, then you can't take on the big boys who have the big names. So if we don't beat them, we're stuck here. So we have a mission, we have to beat them, we're going to do it. You asked another part of the question that I didn't answer, the second part.
No, all I wanted to know is if you think Jamaica had what it takes to, of course, get over that hurdle, you know, the direction we're headed.
We do, and it's because we have opened the door to our diaspora. We believe if a boy or a girl lives in Trinidad and they have Jamaican parents and they're an extremely good player and they want to play for us, they should be given the opportunity to try for the team. We have a very strong, passionate group of Jamaicans here who believe that if you don't live here, you know, if you play for the country and wear the flag.
Sounds as if you're listening to the Reggae Boys fans.
No, but I feel like he spots something in Trinidad. He referenced my country twice.
Trinidad and me are friends, man. We're rivals and friends.
I have to put you on the spot before you go, right? So, using cricket as one of the several examples, you have Test cricket, which is the traditional form of the game.
Right.
Then 50-over cricket came into the picture. Now you have T20 cricket, and there's always that tussle between formats. And when the youngsters come into the game, they probably want to play the T20 version for whatever reason or another instead of Test cricket, or instead of 50-over cricket. You have the rugby union, and then you have the rugby sevens, the faster-paced game. Has it been a struggle to get more and more youngsters interested and wanting to be part of 15s rugby?
No, it's not a struggle. 15s rugby is what we call the pure format of the game.
Like Test cricket?
Yes. And the difference with rugby and cricket is that you start out with 15s. As a youngster, you don't start out with 7s. You start out with 15s. You probably play 10 aside, maybe 12 aside, then 15s. And then you end up in a 7s tournament. And a 7s tournament is only a weekend or one day. So between that time, you're playing 15s all the time. So we don't have a tussle. What we have is a passion for it. Because it's such a fast-paced game and because they have so much more space and everybody wants to be flamboyant and step and shift and carry on with all the fanciness. And they watch Fiji play and they know how brilliant Fiji is. Everybody wants to be a Fijian rugby player. So they love playing 7s. And we encourage it because it is our easiest pathway to get to the World Series.
Yes.
However,
which we have
gone on the World Series as guests, but we haven't broken through to win the Challenger Series and be qualified for it. But 15s will always be the mainstay and 7s will always complement it. What we want is more 7s here in Jamaica so you guys can have something to show on a weekend.
So they're coexisting well.
Very well, actually. And there's not been any disparity between the two when we go on the big stage. We see 7s tournaments happening regularly and they have a huge following. The same people who follow 7s follow 15s and very closely. And they're passionate about 15s.
And so how long will it take for us to get some more 7s tournaments in the region? Because as you said, it's just a weekend.
It's 2 days, like Saturday, Sunday, rugby done. And it depends on how many teams you have. If you have a few teams, it's 1 day because it's just a matter of fitting the fixtures in. I believe we're on that pathway now. The Caribbean islands are having their own individual tournaments as we speak. There'll be one in St. Lucia in like 2 weeks. And there's usually one in
And those
Trinidad
are domestic tournaments.
And they get visiting teams. So the idea is in the Caribbean that's rising now is we're all going to host an international invitational 7s event. It will bring tourists to the island. And it will improve our quality of play because now our local players get a chance to play against opposition from elsewhere, and these are seasoned teams who go around the world and play. And they come as far as Italy. You'll get a team to travel from Ireland, and they'll come to the Caribbean because, there's rugby play in the Caribbean, vacation time, sun, sea.
Perfect.
You know, have some beers, and we're going to play rugby. It's the best combination, and Jamaica is a destination choice. So our intention really is to start having our own very international sevens event, and we want to put it right near to the beach.
Yeah.
And on SportsMax as well to bring it to the
No, that's the
Caribbean
only place
and
to
the
talk
world.
about that. Yeah, how you say that? You know, only
I'm
on
just
SportsMax.
reinforcing.
Okay, good.
Yeah, of course. And you spoke about the World Series. There's also the Commonwealth Games that has rugby sevens as well, and an opportunity to compete on a world stage, if you might. We take a break. Thanks very much, Benswick. It's been a pleasure as usual. We'll be back. We'll be chatting some track and field.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news, and entertainment.